and welcome. Today is the day. It is time to see if my experiments and soldering and desoldering with the chocolate machine have produced positive results. So, what does this mean? Well, if you remember, I had depopulated this circuit board and was removing terrible chocolate infiltration. But the other thing I was doing was testing the board from this other machine that is rather incomplete. Indeedy. So, and it worked, and the board worked fine. So, what do we do? Well, I'm going to grab this light here. So that I can see, and I'm going to test these glasses. Pretty okay. So the idea here is making sure that this board is in fact turned off and everything, is that one by one by one, I'm going to take the chips out and put them into this circuit board. So I'm going to, now, remember, I screwed this up before. There was one chip that has a differing angle, not angle, but a differing witness mark on the chip, and I put it in backwards, and nothing was bad, it just didn't work. So, what am I doing now? What do I got here? I have a 6502 chip. Pins look good. This is, of course, the original that came from this board. Okay, so 6502 is swapped. Now we're going to go for a 6520, and this is the one that's giving me a hard time coming out. This is the one that was indeed backwards. Why is this giving me a hard time? One side has released nicely. The other side is putting up a bit of a fight. I don't like it when they fight. So we look over the pins. They're all good. Pick up this board. Get it under the light. Line up the pins. Everything looks good. And we push gently but firmly. So that is good. Did I take? Oh yeah, I did take. I took the screen RAM chips out. You know what, before I get to that, I'm going to do the round chips. They are near the front. There are 7 of them. Oops. So the pins look okay. This right here is one socket that is probably still going to come out at some point, because of the chocolates. But we'll see. So, leather on. Oh. This one has a couple of fixed legs, which I had not noticed before. I will be careful, as I always am. Alright, number 2. Chip swapping does not take a whole lot of time. You just have to be careful that indeed you do not ruin a chip. Okay, we have 3 out of 7. Always checking the witness mark. Looks good. Fifth round chip. Looking at the pins. Just going to try and get that a little better centered. It's good. Sixth round chip. So eventually, what's going to happen here is, I'm hoping to do this like now, after I get everything in here. Is that okay? It looks okay. Alright. I will disconnect this board that is in here, put this one that I'm transferring everything into in here, and then see. Excuse me. And then I will see if my soldering has been successful, or desoldering and soldering has made a difference. Remember, it is not a race. A broken pin saves no time. So, get the first of the screen ram chips. Carefully lining them up. Looks good. We're almost done. And of course, once I get this done, I should, well, we'll see what happens with this. Right, I should be able to move forward on trying to determine, need a little bit more prying there. There we go. I need to get started on this rare blue machine, which some people say it does not exist, but yet here it is. No, I am not lined up well. Now I'm lined up. We're in. I think we're down to 2 chips to go. I believe. I've kind of been nervous about doing this because this other board here works so well. swapping out all of the RAM chips. Just the major chips. Alright, let's have a look. So we swapped 6520, 6522. Another chip. Looks like another ROM chip. The RAM chips. I'm checking all the configurations, and everything looks just tickety boo. It does. So, it is time to disconnect the keyboard connector. Disconnect the connector that goes to the monitor. Disconnect the power. Disconnect the tape drive. Now, these little legs are always interesting. You kind of got to push gently until it pops out. Oh, there's another. And sometimes it is hard because they end up, the little thing you push ends up on the other side. You must be gentle. Okay. So this comes out, and this little leg was actually disconnected from the circuit board, or not the circuit board, but the lower board. I would like to get it out. I would like to. I'm not sure if I can. There we go. Okay. All right. It is time. The moment of truth. I'll just pop that in there. Put the board in here. Line it up with its feet. Make sure that it is as secure as it can be for a board that doesn't have all of its feet. And very soon, the moment of truth will be upon us. Did the soldering make a difference? Or the desoldering and the new sockets, etc., etc., etc. Did it make a difference? Okay, let me just check. Everything looks to be in order. One last visual inspection. And it seems okay. I had a thought, you know, there's two more chips I'm kind of wanting to desolder. And I had a thought that if in fact the machine uses the first 1K for its own business, and then the rest is for the machine, then maybe this other chip that I actually unsoldered and soldered back up again because I didn't have a socket, may be the one that's in trouble. I don't know. Anyway, I'm hoping when I turn this on, it's going to come up with a regular looking screen with about 5,000 bytes free. I turn it on, I look. Oh, look at that. All right. Let me just close. Oh, careful. So what we have here, what do we got? Whenever I feel resistance, I am nervous. So we do have a machine that comes up and does say 5,000, because I knew I was short 2K. I'm just, while this is reloading, or rewinding, I'm just going to put in a little program, kind of what will load. Oops. Bluetooth 10. And I will type run. And I'll see that this will, the program runs. Now, on this tape is a better version of this program that will fit and fill the entire memory. But the initial findings of this chip swapping, desoldering, soldering, installation of sockets and things does seem to have been successful. And this I find very pleasing. I'm always nervous when desoldering, if you ruin a trace or something else, but definitely, certainly it must be making much better connection than when the sockets that I had to literally rip apart because they were so stuck from the chocolate goo. And they were infiltrated, like this chocolate was right through. I couldn't imagine that it was making good contact. And it wasn't, of course, making good contact, not at all. Alright, so we are rewinding. Something, of course, you don't have to do with a disk drive or a hard drive, but certainly you do with a tape drive. We're almost there, I think. We are there. I will press run stop. I will press load. I will press play. And I will see what's what. So, here we have... This would be from the third machine, the one that is missing the keyboard, and that I think that the monitor is deficient. I think. So this circuit board is mostly unpopulated at the moment, but I know it works just fine. I know it. Well, this is saying searching. It should have found something, I think. I wonder if it didn't rewind all the way. Let me try that again. Okay, well, it's all the way there. We'll try that again. Anyway, so a good board, not populated. I will put it very gently back here. Where it will be safe. Now, this excuse me, is so far not finding anything. I had rewound this tape entirely to the other end where I saved the program. I wonder if something went bad when I did that. Anyway, we'll just leave it and see what happens. So, the long and the short of it is, the initial estimation of this operation of chocolate removal, desoldering and soldering, I believe, has worked. Although I am concerned at this moment that nothing is being found on this tape. Because this was the tape I had the various Commodore programs on that would fill the memory. I did. I have here another tape. This is from, I would have got it at a place on Avenue Road. Oh, excuse me while I just, I'm having a little moment of nerve pain in my leg. Oh. All right. It doesn't seem to be finding anything. That is interesting and somewhat distressing. Let me try this tape, the one from Commodore, that I know has, I don't think it has programs that I'm particularly interested in at this moment. But it would be nice if it would just pop up and say that it has found something. Anyway, this tape here I would have got at a store on Avenue Road called Mr. Cheap. And it's still there. It's been there a long, long time. Different people have owned it, but it's always called Mr. Cheap. And they typically have back scratchers and other things. Alright, now this is still not finding anything. This is disturbing. Alright, I'm going to turn this machine on and take this out and rewind. And press load. Meanwhile, I'm going to stop this for a moment and gently open this up and turn it off. And I will just verify that I do have the cassette drive connected. I'll just reconnect it. I knew it was connected because of course it was working. Okay, so that same tape has loaded something, and this one would not load anything. I am intrigued. I want to double check this chip here. $65.20. This is the one. Machine is off. That I put in backwards initially in the other machine. I'm just double checking all the pins. And they all look just dandy. Just give one of them a little tweak, another of them a little tweak. I will take my magic light. I will line things up. I will push that in. I will double check all the connections and wiggle. And I will turn this on. jumping, but it still comes up, and it does. Oh. Alright, so this tape always worked. And it worked in the machine next door. So I'm going to press play. Now, what is going wrong? I don't know. Soon after this starts searching, it should find the program Commodore. It should. But so far, it is not finding it. But yet, with the other board, in the same machine, with the same everything, it was fine. So this is strange. And I know it would, so there may still be something lurking on this board here. I'm going to stop. I'm going to rewind. I'm going to turn this off. I'm going to open this up. And just have a look-see. One more time. And although I don't believe anything is amiss here, I'm going to take my light and very carefully look at every chip and make sure that indeed everything looks okay. You know, this one here, see, this too may have had some chocolate infiltration. But they all look okay. I will just do a little reseating. See, the chocolate, you just never know. And here, next to it is another round chip, and it definitely has been infiltrated. I mean, I can see the chocolate in the socket. So I'm just going to make sure that we are well seated. And I mean, everything, as far as I can tell, everything is in just fine. And this machine, I think before, yeah, I had the tape going with it. Now what's happening now? Alright, did I plug everything in? I did. Alright, the screen is not going up at this moment. This is the same sort of stuff that was going on before. Where Strangeness, I tell you, strangeness. So this kind of worked. There's just an @ sign coming up on the screen. I'm going to reseat this ROM again. I think. Oh, there's an @ sign on the screen. And I will tinker with that one ever so slightly. Aha! Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I think we're still having chocolate issues here because that last ROM there I tweaked it ever so gently, just up, just a hair, and now it came out. Now, is this going to actually load something? I don't know. This may be something else I need to investigate. It would be nice if it loaded, but I just don't know if it will. But I know the tape should be fine. It should be. I may have to refer to an online assistance, Google search perhaps, to see why a machine such as this would fail to load something. Mind you, it is always possible that I've had a failure with the tape drive. It's possible. Have another look inside. Checking the cabling. Checking everything here. Making sure that everything is just dandy. I will turn it on again. See if it arises. It does. Am I rewound? Rewound. Alright, all I just did now, which should make no difference at all, is I just pulled the Datasette connector off just a hair. Just a hair. But it does not seem to be making any difference. Hello, Andrew. Hi. I am recording at this moment, but I will be done in a few moments. Huh? I need the bathroom. Excellent. Okay. Well, it's nice that it's not locking up, but it's not happening. I wish there was a way to connect. Let's turn this off. Ugh. There was a way, without disassembling things, to connect this tape drive that I know is working into this machine to get an idea of what's what. But I don't. The cord on these is pretty short. The external ones, of which I have some, when they did go to external, was quite a bit longer. It was one last thing I'll try. I'll just double check. And, you know, it's pretty impossible to do the connectors wrong. And I know that this is the right way up. I'm just looking to make sure that all the connectors are really in the connector, or the wires are in the connector, and they seem to be. And nothing seems to be broken. And nothing seems to have come detached. And I will double check the configuration of the power. And of course, after these wires have been in the position for a while, they're in the same position. It does look like the way the connector's laid out there, it could go backwards and it would be just fine. I'm not going to test that theory. And this is looking fine. And the monitor connector is looking fine. And I will turn this on. And it will come up. And I will rewind, which I have done, and I will check and see if it's really rewound. And I will press play on tape 1. And I suspect nothing will have changed. I am suspecting. I have set into this machine some chips that have been part of this experiment. So the one right by that connector, which one would think, looking at the way things are happening, would actually have something to do with it, is in fact a 6520 chip, which I happen to have one in my hand. Alright, it's not happening. I will turn this off. I will open it up. I will, with great care, remove this 6520 chip, which, once again, this machine, or all these chips in the other board, were working perfectly. So this should make no difference. None at all. Just checking all the pins. Oh. One pin on the end looks just a little wee tweaked. Okay. Alright, so we have swapped out that chip. You'll see if the machine comes up. And it does. Alright. So, is this going to make any difference at all? Have I rewound? I have not rewound. I have rewound. I will press play. I am suspecting this will make no difference at all. I would be surprised if it did. But you never know, you know. And we're dealing with things that are now, like this chip here, is from the 43rd week of 1978. So, what, 43 years ago? And nothing is changing. now, I suppose, I mean, I could let this sit here for a while. It may, I mean, who knows? Who knows? Maybe if it sits here long enough, it'll find one of the programs. But I don't think so. I think somehow it's not. And is it the tape drive? Could be. Is it something else? Could be. Definitely, I'm going to have to do the remaining chocolate removal. No doubt. Gotta do it. Got to do it. Because you know what, as long as things are kind of fighting that and not making good connections, it's hard to trust it. It is. So, you know what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully put this chip up on this pet. I'm going to take this light and put it over here. I'm going to close this machine. Turn it on. And see that it is still happy. And it is indeed happy. And I will print Commodore pet 2001 space quote colon no quote semicolon colon go to 10. That is essentially the program that I have running in the machine that is being filled, or that's supposed to be filled, but the tape is not doing its thing. So I will ponder further, but definitely the chocolate must be dealt with. There is no other option. It must be dealt with. I think actually what I'm going to do, because I don't want to rip this tape deck out, and I think what I'm going to do is to I've got to work on this board anyway. I think I will repopulate that board, put it back in here, and test and see if the tape drive works, and then I will know for sure. I mean, I was trying to only change one thing at a time. In this case, it's the whole board, which is a lot of things, but it's the same chips that were in there. And right now, the only thing I've done is swap out one chip. I will swap that back, because this is doing nothing. All right. So, uh-oh. All right. There are my pliers. What have I done with, oh, little screwdriver. Okay, so this machine is off. So I will very gently and carefully remove this chip, put it back inside that machine, and of course double checking the witness mark and looking carefully at the pins of the chip I just took out. Oh, there's a little tweak necessary. Just a little tweak. And you know what? The light. Because you know what they should have done? They should have put a light in here. Although, of course, if you had the machine on, maybe something where it bypassed the power switch. That when you just lifted the hood, the light came on. Okay, so we're back with our original chipset going to try and do this blind, if I can do it. Oh, look at that. I did the shift run stop, which means it will go for the first, sorry, it'll without typing load, it'll tell you to press play on tape 1. So, nothing has changed, nothing will change. Just double checking everything is fine, everything is dandy, but it still is not loading. Damn it. Alright. Oh. Well, some success, but not perfect. So that is enough for today. Perhaps more than enough for today. Thank you very much for coming. The great chocolate experiment continues. It does. I still have faith. I think that this board is going to be okay. But if not, perhaps some of its parts will help this machine to live. This rare full keyboard blue screened machine that supposedly should not exist because they came out with the blue ones and then they switched to black, such as all of these, and when they came out with these machines, or the full keyboard machines, they didn't do blue ones. But there was a fellow who wrote and said that perhaps they sold a kit to let people swap the case and the keyboard to big on their little screen machine. I don't know. Anyway, this is finding nothing. This is working fine. This is dubious, but I haven't really done anything to it except say, ooh, look. And this one is, of course, it looks pretty, but it is incomplete. So, still searching. Anyway, enough for today. Ooh. I will send a quick message and thank you Thank you very much for coming and being here. If you have any suggestions, like if any of you know these old machines about why it is that the tape drive works but it doesn't work, with the tape that I know works, etc., 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 believe me, I'm all ears. I suppose one thing I could do would be to clean the head, but I don't believe there's anything wrong with it, the cassette. I don't. I think we're still dealing with chocolate things and things that are just not making the right connection. So I think progress has been made, but we're not there yet. So I've got to find a way to get, well, I'll look carefully and decide how many sockets. I have sockets for the ROM chips, that's no trouble. It's for the RAM chips. That is the trouble. Still searching. Alright. Thank you. See you again. Bye for now. was the deleted scene that I didn't delete. Bye for now.